Well, I've dreamt about this all my life. I've lusted after it. And in my dreams, I was on a nice German Autobahn. But hell, when you're in an Aston Martin, I don't care if it's the roads of Mumbai, I'm still really excited. But let's just go back a few clicks to when the Rapide arrived. Under covers and on a truck. It took nanoseconds to get a crowd collected whilst we unloaded the beauty. Once it was unveiled, there were loads of open jaws, including ours. I was just dying to get my hands behind the wheel and couldn't wait a second more. So, coming back to present time, I was negotiating the traffic of Mumbai's roads with visions of dishwashing for the rest of my life should anything happen to this Aston Martin. Now, even though this car has a really long nose, look at me. I'm in the thick of traffic and I'm not uncomfortable at all. It sort of wraps itself around you really nicely. Even though you're sitting low, I'm never really feeling uncomfortable in the Aston. With its uber low stance, you just don't feel dwarfed. The seating position is really good and you can see all the way to the front end of the long nose, making you quite comfortable in this car. So now this is a 6-litre V12 engine that unfortunately I haven't had the full chance to explore because I've been driving around on a short spin on the traffic-filled roads of Mumbai. How I'd love to put this on a German Autobahn or even on the Chennai track. That would be a great idea and hopefully we'll do that pretty soon. But until then, what I've got a taste of is the soundtrack of this car. I couldn't resist when I blipped down the gears. It's just amazing. In my mind, I was wishing I had a wand to make all these other cars just disappear off the road so I could let her rip. Having a 6-litre V12 that churns out 469 bhp on Mumbai's roads is just a criminal waste. But yeah, drive to any place and you will gain instant respect. People from all quarters were leaning in to see just who I was in this supercar. When I began, I was so excited about driving this Rapide, but soon on Mumbai's roads, it turned to total angst. You can feel the stiffness of this suspension and this car is just begging to be thrown around corners and I'm feeling really frustrated at this point of time driving it in traffic. But what I've noticed driving around on the pothole-filled roads of Mumbai is that, though it's a sports car, it doesn't really have that hard ride even with the stiff suspension. It's got a pliancy to it. You do feel everything filtering through from the road. You feel all the bumps, you feel all the road divisions, but there's really nothing jarring about it. The Aston engineers have tuned the Rapide a little more for comfort than an out-and-out sports car with the 4-seat combo. Thankfully, I got an open stretch to test more than the suspension and I wasted no time. The 100 mark came up in just under 5 seconds with an impressive shove of torque that pinned me to the back of my seat. The paddles allowed me to have sporty gear shifts and the Rapide just didn't feel like a 2-tonner at all. But the joy ended just too soon with a bunch of cars looming up so close in front of me at alarming speeds. So, pressed the brakes, dab of D on the dashboard shifted me back into normal auto mode again and back to life. Well, I'm sure you don't want to hear me raving on about how frustrating it is to drive such a beauty on Mumbai streets, and you just want to get a good look at this car. So I'll stop and give you that look. From any angle, any view, the Rapide is just stunning. Most other sports cars that have four-door versions have a certain awkwardness to them. But with the Rapide, there's none of that. Just flowing lines, perfect proportions, and a seamlessness to this design. Drool quotient for sure. In fact, engineers at Aston worked hard to ensure that the extra two doors were so gracefully blended into the design that this would remain as much of a sporting coupe in design as its other siblings. They threw in some other pretty cool stuff too. The four doors open to a 12-degree angle up and then away like a swan's wings, claim Aston, to ensure that no scuffs on the doors when you park near a pavement. Definitely handy in Mumbai. Now, when you build out of aluminium, you get the advantage of weight, but then you need thicker members to get the desired tensile strength. So openings on the Rapide are pretty small, and they had to increase the opening angle of the doors to 70 degrees to allow easier ingress and egress. When you look at the Rapide, you can't help but let your jaw drop. The long nose is adorned with an alloy upper and lower grille, giving it presence, whilst the new front lights house a single bi-xenon headlight with innovative light tube side lights. The Rapide's low roofline gives it a sports car appeal, whilst the giant 20-inch wheels give it strength and character. The iconic side strake houses the LED indicators, and the pillarless side glass accentuates the coupe line. Now, in India, a lot of people are going to be eyeing this section of the car, which is the back seat. It's for two, as you see. There's a high central console dividing both sides of the car. The window line is high. The seat is really low to give enough headroom over the back over here. And I'm a short person. I'm not really tall, and I've got just about 1.5 inches or 2 of space in between me and the front seat. Tall person is definitely going to be sitting knees up over here. It is a bit cramped and boxy. You feel hemmed into your section of the car. But hey, when your wife won't let you buy that two-door sports car, this is definitely an option. Well, don't really expect to step out onto the red carpet in this car because, as you can see, getting out of this narrow passage is quite tight. You have to step over the side. And definitely don't try it in a skirt. In my opinion, it's the front, and that too directly behind the wheel, that's the only place to be in an Aston Martin. Any other seat is for those who can't drive. Once inside that driver's seat, you realize that the Aston's dash has a cockpit-like feel of most sports cars, with the central console clearly dividing the two areas. Everything is beautifully crafted, and little details like the plus and minus sign carved into the paddle shifts instead of painted on make you realize that this is something that's classy and special. The seats themselves are extremely comfortable, but the lack of space in the rear makes it best for your shortest friends or your kids. Like I said, the best place behind the wheel. Well, in the world of supercars, the Aston Martin is definitely up there with the rest. It's a brand that's really lusted after, and the Bond movies have only helped add to the cool quotient of this car. Well, for me, it's the soundtrack that's just remained inside of me. It's blown my heart away. I've really enjoyed driving this. It's been a very, very short spin. Yep, I'd like to put it on a German Autobahn still, and hopefully I'll do that real soon. But for you guys who feel very Bond-like and want to own one of these in the Indian markets, you can be sure you're going to turn all heads when you drive out in this one. You can buy it on the Indian roads. The entire range is going to be here, and you can expect it from about 1.35 crore to about 2.75 crores here in India.